The labor market, like many other sectors, is dealing with the influence coming from artificial intelligence. And one component of the labor scenario that is changing is how people go about promoting themselves to get a job. Things like the old fashioned cover letter. Judd Kessler is professor of business economics and public policy here at the Wharton School. He's also author of the book Lucky by Design. He wrote recently about the cover letter going away, and he joins us right now. Judd, this is an interesting topic. And I guess, like many things in life, even the cover letter changes over a period of time.
It's been around for hundreds of years. So it's, dates back to the 1600s, that era. But, as technology changes and what is a useful signal of your interest in a firm and your fit for a firm, it changes as technology changes.
Right. And obviously in this day and age of artificial intelligence, I would imagine it becomes a lot easier to write a very good cover letter because you have that extra assistance.
Yeah, and this is the problem. I mean, it's a little counterintuitive. We made this thing very easy to write, and now it's not useful anymore. But that's exactly how signals work in the labor market. So, to paint the picture, right? This is what we're trying to achieve with a cover letter. We're trying to both show the employer that we are a good catch, that we're high quality, that we're producing high level work. And we're also trying to signal to them that we are actually interested in this job. And one of the reasons that second one is so important is it's become very easy to apply to many jobs at once. So,
Right.
a job application that you send to a firm, you might be sending out 1,000 applications like that. So the firm has to decide, is this person worth investing time and energy in evaluating? If we recruit them, are they actually going to want to be here? Are they going to be looking over their shoulder for their next opportunity? And
Right.
a good, well thought out, detailed cover letter used to provide that assurance because it was hard to write and you couldn't write a thoughtful, detailed, tailored cover letter to every employer. You only sent those to the ones you really, really cared about. And
All
that's
right.
just not true anymore.
So let's circle back here for a second. You talk about the component of signals. And I guess when you're going for a job, the cover letter is one of the signals that shows that you are extremely interested about this position. You think you would be a great candidate for this position. That's kind of been the historic norm of what a cover letter was supposed to do, correct?
Exactly. And so and the reason it was a good signal, the reason that when a firm received a thoughtful, detailed cover letter, they could be confident that you really were a good fit for the firm, believed the firm was a good fit for you, was that it was hard to write a cover letter like that. If it took
Right.
hours to research the firm, figure out exactly what they were doing, what they needed, and how you fit in, then, if it took hours to do that, the firm could be confident that you weren't writing letters like that to every place you applied. You were selecting the places that were actually good fits for you. But if ChatGPT or Claude Code or whatever your preferred generative AI model is, can write hundreds of those letters in a matter of seconds, then the firm that receives that no longer can be confident that you actually kind of want to work there. They might believe that you're sending letters like that to all the places you apply, and
Right.
you very well might be.
So you actually suggest that the component of the job recommendation may become even more important as we move forward here.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, what is going to be a useful signal for the labor market to identify folks who are really good fits? And I should say, I'm not just, when I wrote my book, I was kind of speculating that this would happen, but there's data coming out that is showing exactly this, that when labor market platforms introduce AI tools to help people write their cover letters, the cover letters get more tailored, they get more detailed and, better fit, look like there is a better fit between the applicant and the job posting. And those cover letters are better. They're successful, but the firms that are looking for candidates stop paying as much attention to them. They kind of recognize, oh,
Right.
I'm getting a lot of these, and the cover letter becomes less important. What becomes more important? Well, the signals that are not as easy for a candidate to generate with AI, things like your prior work experience and recommendations from prior employers or other people who know you well that might be written by AI. There's nothing, wrong with having the letter of recommendation be written by AI, because the actual signal is not that the letter is good. The actual signal is that you got somebody to write the letter on your behalf, that somebody out there in the real world believes you are a good fit for this firm.
So should if for those that are out there looking for jobs, do they bother with the cover letter at this point, or do you make it just about those recommendations from other companies, other employers?
So I think we're in a transition period where you actually do still need the cover letter, unless a firm stops asking for it, which is where I think we're going. Eventually, the firm will realize this is pointless. We're having AI write these cover letters, and many firms now are using AI to read the cover letters, and so
Right.
uh, the whole process is a little silly. But right now, the cover letter is kind of the prerequisite. It's no longer the differentiator, because
Right.
if you decide not to send a cover letter, or you send a bad cover letter, then the firm, has to think like, well, why didn't they just put it through one of these generative AI models? It's so easy to write a good cover letter. They must really not care
Yeah.
if they're not bothering to even do that, even do the kind of lowest cost thing of having AI write a good cover letter for you. So, I think we're still in a time when we need to send a good quality cover letter, but I think you can be confident that the firm's not really looking at them, and later on, this won't be necessary.
You also talk in your article about the importance of networking and how that kind of plays into, obviously people have done networking for a long period of time, but how does that get impacted by this shift that's going on?
Yeah, the issue is when AI comes and makes a lot of the signals that we used to send less costly, easier to send, then the signals that will take over are going to be ones that are happening in the real world. It's kind of this great irony of AI, is that we're making things online just so easy. Anything
Yeah.
that the computer can aid you with has become, very, very easy to do. And so the signals that will be effective are ones that cannot be replicated by AI, that are in the real world. And so when I find somebody at a firm and offer to take them to coffee and spend half an hour, with them, chatting with them, that is a signal that I'm interested in the firm. That is a relationship that I am building that cannot be replicated with AI. And as a result, those types of relationships are going to become more important. And if what is happening is that the cover letters or the referrals are, sorry, the letters of recommendation or the referrals are going to replace the cover letters, well, then having more interpersonal connections, having more relationships, having more folks who are willing to go to bat for you is going to be all the more powerful.
Is this just another change for the HR department that's going through an incredible swirl of change right now?
I think they're gonna settle on this. I think, when you are flooded by hundreds or thousands of applicants for each position that you have open, and they're getting better and better, and,
Yeah.
you're having trouble sorting through them, right? You're gonna need to figure out what is the alternative way that I'm gonna cut through this noise. And I think that HR firms are getting there, and you see it in the data from the papers that are coming out looking at this. But yeah, it's a period of change. I do not envy those folks, but it's gonna get better once they figure out, like, what are the signals that actually are informative in this market today.
Judd, always great to chat. Thanks again for your time, sir.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Judd Kessler, professor of business economics and public policy here at the Wharton School.